Welcome to Python for Data Science and Analytics class. I am Shima Mohebi, the instructor of this course. Learning objectives for today. I just want to go over the basic features of an algorithm. So no coding at this lecture, but we do want to know a little bit about the history of Python and a brief history of Groby. Groby is our optimizer engine and why we chose this optimizer engine. And then I would like to go over some tips for installing Python and Groby. So a little bit about algorithm in general. Here you can see 4 steps for subtracting 2 numbers. I really encourage you to follow these steps and see if we can, by following this step, we can subtract 2 numbers or not, if these steps are accurate or not. Because an algorithm is a sequence of steps that explains everything. So for subtracting 2 numbers, 4 steps are listed here. Step 1, write down the numbers. With larger number above a smaller one, digits column aligned from right. You can write down the numbers and just try this step 1. And then step 2, we start with rightmost column of digit and work your way left through the various columns. And step 3, write down difference between the digit in the current column of digits, borrowing a 1 from the top number's next column to the left if necessary. And if there is no next column to the left, stop. So there is a termination criteria here. Otherwise, move to column to the left and go to step 3. So we continue this until there is no next column to the left. So sequence of steps that describe each of these computational processes is called an algorithm. So this algorithm, what we discussed here, has 4 main steps. And if you follow these steps, then you should be able to subtract 2 numbers. Okay. So remember, a sequence of steps. Now, features of an algorithm. So there should be a specific features to call a piece of code an algorithm. First off, it consists of a finite number of instructions. So at some point, we need to get results. So there should be a finite number of instructions, even if it's a large piece of code. Each individual instruction is well defined. So it means that action described by the instruction can be performed effectively or be executed by a computing agent. So we assume that the person who wants to subtract 2 numbers doesn't know anything about the subtracting procedure, but we are explaining every step. An algorithm describes a process that eventually halts after arriving at a solution to a problem. So we need to have a termination condition, otherwise it never stops. An algorithm solves a general class of problems, which is very important. So for example, this algorithm subtracts any 2 numbers. It's important. So it should be a general class of problems. And just as a note, computers can be designed to run a small set of algorithms for performing a specialized task. So for each task, we define algorithm and we can run them. A little bit about Python's history. So this gentleman invented the Python programming language in early 90s. Python is a high-level, object-oriented, general-purpose programming language for solving problems on modern computer systems. A high-level programming language is a language with a strong abstraction from the details of the computer. So we don't need to know the machine language to use Python. Python, because it's an object-oriented language, is often compared to other programming languages such as Java, JavaScript, and C++. Overall, Python code is typically 3 to 5 times shorter than equivalent Java code. Java is one of my favorite programming languages, but Python typically shorter. Python programs are generally expected to run slower than Java programs, so there is a trade-off here. The diverse application of the Python language is a result of the combination of features which give this language an edge over others. Some of the benefits are listed here. There is an extensive support library, open source and community development, learning ease and support available. So there are online forums that you can refer to find answers to your question. And user-friendly data structures. And you are going to see different data structure in this course a lot. So that's the reason that Python is very popular in both research and industry. As I mentioned earlier, Groby is our optimizer engine. The Groby optimizer was designed from the ground up to be the fastest, most powerful solver available for mixed integer programming, mixed integer linear programming, mixed integer quadratic programming, and mixed integer quadratic constraint programming, overall LP and quadratic programming. Groby is named for its founders, and you can see here. In industry standard public benchmark test, Groby has the fastest overall solver times for MIP models, mixed integer programming, fastest overall solve times for linear program models, and fastest overall solve times for quadratic programming models. And that's why we are adopting Groby as our optimizer engine. There is a one-pager that I have uploaded to Canvas providing you with instructions to install Python and Groby, because Groby is like a library that should be linked to Python. This is the one-pager I was referring to. Instructions for installing Groby and Python. So here is the link. Download Groby optimizer files. If you click on this link, you'll be directed to this web page. If this is your first time, you need to set up an account using your academic email, your OU email. And then you will have email address and password. You can log into this website. And then you can ask for your free academic license here. If you go to this tab, your Groby licenses, you can see that I have 2 free academic licenses. For example, if you click on this, you can see the expiration date. It's academic, it's free. And this is what here you will see code. This is what you need. Technically, you need to copy and paste this command to link Groby to your Python. And this is unique for each license. And that's why you need to create your account and then use this code to download the license. Okay, that's all you need. So you just need to request an academic license. And once you see this code, then you are done with Groby. Then we can move on to installing Python. In this course, we use a free enterprise-ready Python distribution called Anaconda. So we use Anaconda. And if you click on this link here, you can download Anaconda. So if you click on that link, you will be directed to this web page. If you scroll down, there is documentation here. You can see Anaconda installers. So if you are a Mac user or Windows user, you can choose the right link. We use Python 3.7 in this class. So make sure that you install the latest version based on your computer specification. When you install it, and then Anaconda 3 shows up here. And then we use Jupyter Notebook. So far we got a license key and from Groby website and also installed Anaconda. Now that's the part that we need to connect these two. To add Groby to Python, here you can see a piece of code. You need to copy and paste this line by line. So copy and paste the first line, and then you need to run it in Anaconda prompt window, as you can see here, and then you paste it. Please pay attention, it's not the Windows terminal, so it's the Anaconda prompt window. Okay, this is important. And then you copy and paste your Groby license here. So you retrieve the license, you download the groby.lic. So the file extension is LIC. So that's how you download your Groby license. And then you need to copy and paste this in the folder that you install Anaconda. Okay, so as you can see here, this is an important point. So this license key should be in the same folder as your Anaconda folder. And then the very last line or command is conda install Groby. And that's how you link Groby to your Python or Jupyter Notebook. And then we are done. It is very possible that you have questions about this process. So I do encourage you to, if you are not able to connect them for any reasons, just connect to my online office hours and I'll be happy to help you with that. But we are going to use GrobyPy as one of the libraries in this course. Now I would like to talk about some syntax errors, detecting and correcting syntax error. Programmers inevitably make typographical errors when editing programs, which is called syntax error. It happens. Sometimes just to troubleshoot your code, it takes you an hour to figure that there was a typo in your code, because Python is a case-sensitive programming language. The Python interpreter will usually detect this. So if there is a syntax error, you are going to see an error message. Syntax explains rules for forming sentences in a language. Okay, so there are some rules. For instance, in English language, we have some rules for forming a sentence. We need subject, we need a verb. That's the same story with programming languages. There are some rules to form a sentence. When Python encounters a syntax error in a program, it halts execution with an error message. And here's an example. So let's run our very first code. I would like for you to click on Anaconda and open Jupyter Notebook after you install Python or Anaconda here. So this is the window that you are going to see. On the right side, you click on New button and then Python 3 here. So let's say I'm defining a variable named length, and I will explain this syntax but later on. But with input a statement, I'm going to ask the user to enter a number, and that number is integer. Let's run this. So enter a number. Let's say we go with 40. Now I would like to print the result. Okay. We use print, and then here I forgot to type h at the end, so it's length. When you run it, then you will see name. This name is not defined. Then you realize that there is a syntax error, and you go and fix it, and now you see the result. Okay, length is a variable whose value is 40. So this is the example that you have here. Final example. Programmer attempts to add two numbers, but forgets to include the second one. Let's say I want to add up 3 and 4. So 3 plus 4. If you run this, you will see 7. But if I forget to type in 4, then you will see this syntax error, invalid syntax. Then you realize, oops, a number is missing. So it's very possible that we make typos. So to summarize, languages such as Python are high level. It means that we can call functions. We don't need to be worried about the computer or machine language. When a Python program is executed, it's translated into bytecode. So we just call the function, we just call the built-in statement, and then it runs for us. Syntax is a set of rules for forming correct expressions and a statement in a programming language. So when we want to learn a new programming language, we need to learn its syntax. And that's what we are going to do next time. Okay, I hope you enjoyed our very first session.